Hello, everyone. I'm Steve. Mark's working late tonight, and this is Smoky Steve and Mark. Welcome or welcome back. Happy Thursday. It is Thursday. Thank God. We are having some crazy snow squalls at the moment. I just walked home from work, and in 15 minutes, I was covered. Abominable snowman. And like half an inch of snow fell. 20 minutes. It was nuts. Today I wanted to chat about it's a topic I hate to say close to my heart, but it's something I encounter a lot at work and something I used to do quite well, and a channel that I'm following. Take a guess which one. It has been discussed that it might be relevant to that. And I'm talking about exploiting illness. Now, again, I'm going to try to keep the focus on I, me, I, but we'll draw inspiration from some other places. So, talking about exploiting illness, well, to what end would one exploit an illness? Um, it could be done for attention. It could be done for money. GoFundMe scams much. It could be done to manipulate people emotionally. It could be done to manipulate other people's behavior towards you or to make people think of you with pity or favorably, different kinds of ways. Uh, Exploiting illness is kind of a different thing, your own or possibly somebody else's. And it could be mental or physical. I've seen both. Um, I've done certainly one. So, just as an example of exploiting someone, on a small level to manipulate their behavior. And you don't have to do it forcefully. I'm thinking back to like 8th grade when I was in school. And I was smart, fat, and effeminate. So I wasn't exactly popular. But there was a popular guy who, at my budding age of puberty, I already started to have a crush on. It started young, with, um, wanted to copy my homework. And I wanted him to think of me favorably. And I didn't think he was going to copy my homework and I was going to be his bestie, but I wanted him to like me. So I let him copy my homework. So, did he take advantage of the fact that I was probably lower on the food chain and was trying to work my way up a little and figured I would say yes? Possibly. I can't say exactly. Um, did I do some manipulating myself? I'm thinking to college. Um, and again, we're not on illness yet, but I'm thinking I was 20. We all wanted to drink. We would befriend someone who was 21. Now, we weren't nice kids. Anybody who was 21 or over would do. And some folks we would profile as like easy pickings. We'll go to the store with them, we'll invite them to the party. They're not really in our circle of friends, and they're a little bit weird, but they'll do because they're serving a purpose. So we're exploiting that person. We're taking advantage of them, pretty much. We want something from them, and we'll dangle the carrot of friendship off of a vulnerable person who wants to be liked in order to get something out of them. So it goes different ways. It's not always exploiting for money necessarily. It could be for inclusion, it could be for a lot of other things. Now, when it comes to exploiting illness on my part, it was not usually for money. It was usually for sympathy, for attention, to get out of having to do something, um, different stuff. Now, when I was a kid in school, I missed a lot of school. I missed a lot of school. And mostly it was mental health issues I was having. I was racked with anxiety about school when I was a kid. I hated school, hated my teachers, didn't like the kids because they would upset the teacher and the teacher would yell, and yelling makes me scared, and I would cry in class, and that was embarrassing, and I just didn't want anything to do with it. Um, so I knew that if I was sick physically, I could probably stay home from school. And I knew that if I just lied about it, I could stay home. Well, eventually, after all this anxiety, I was diagnosed when I was like 11 with an ulcer. So after that, I kind of had that ace in my sleeve. So if I didn't feel like going to school one day, I'd be like, "Oh, my stomach hurts. I think the ulcer's acting up." The reality is, I was in no condition to go to school because mentally I probably needed help at that point. But I would play my trump card. I have a pre existing illness now. I can use that whenever I want. And I would use it to get out of going to school, to get something special to eat for dinner than other than what everybody else has because I need special food because I'm sick. Um, little stuff like that. Uh, Later in life, I was diagnosed with some mental health issues. Originally, I was diagnosed with depression around 2000. I'm 30. Oh God, I'll be 38 this year. So around 2001, I was diagnosed with depression and eating disorder not otherwise specified. So I had some symptoms of this and that, but nothing real big. And then 2009, I was re-diagnosed with bipolar disorder and full out, blown out bulimia. So having had depression and some mental health symptoms, often they would come up and interrupt my daily functions. There were times I was too anxious or too depressed to get out of bed, and I couldn't go to some social function with friends. There were other times I just didn't like the plans that were being made, and I would feign great illness. Life, I don't see the point. No, I can't go see Jerry Maguire. Like, you know, using it for, like, it's using it for a reason that it's not meant to be used. Like, this is supposed to be mine to take care of and to take care of myself. It's not meant to be a get out of life free card. It's not meant to be something to manipulate people with. As I got older and my addiction started kicking in, and I was a really heavy drinker, I used to throw my mental health even under the bus. And I'd be like, well, I'm only drinking because I have bipolar disorder. Don't you know how hard it is to have bipolar disorder? It's terrible. I'm so sad. So I would totally exploit that as a reason to continue drinking. So this was my fine intersection of substance use and mental illness. And I'd play one off the other. Now, I was living with my parents when I was at my sickest. So I, for reasons I don't know, they let me stay in their house. I think they were concerned I was probably going to go out and hurt myself in one way or another, intentionally or not intentionally. Um, I think I probably got away with more bad behavior in their home because they were afraid of that. On some level, I think I probably knew that. And I had gone to the psych ward a few times just for not admitted, but go to the ER, get checked out. Sometimes when things would get a little too hot, and I've seen other folks do this, things get a little too real at home, things get a little dicey, right when you're about to get thrown out, have a medical crisis. It throws out a smoke bomb and you can disappear stage left. And it emotionally manipulates the people around you if they don't have good boundaries and they're not seeing through your crap. Into looking at you differently, more softly. It's like hitting the reset button, sort of. If you're particularly good at manipulating people, which I'm an old addict, so I'm not good at it now because my face turns all red. But once upon a time, I was pretty slick, and I was able to do it with like parole agents and counselors and stuff like that. You know, especially when you mix together, people pleasing in with that, which was always something I struggled with. Not pleasing my peers exactly, except for the cute guy I let copy my homework, but more like pleasing people in positions of authority. That was always something. I wanted the teacher to like me. I wanted the group facilitator to like me. I wanted the lead therapist at rehab to like me. Yeah, like always people who seemed important. I wanted their approval. I wanted them to care. And if I couldn't win their approval, I'll win their pity. But one way or another, I'm going to get this person's attention and I'm going to get them to think favorably of me one way or another. So, now, Mark has a chronic condition. I have a chronic condition. And when we're sick, we deal with being sick. But most of the time, we're fine. More or less our days we go through, and it's like, most functional, able people, we both go to work, we come home, we have hobbies, this is a hobby for us. We cook, we clean, we eat, we have weekends, we spend time with family, we live, we have a life. We have a life outside of YouTube, too, which I think is an important balance. Exploitation can be something that goes into the digital world as well. It could be, so I've had it in my, youth, I've had it in dealing with my mental health, where I've used that to get things from people and get things out of people. We're not into money yet, but I'm just getting stuff out of people. before I go into the digital world, work is another place where it can come up. In previous jobs, I was in a place where they knew I had some mental health issues, and I would be like, I just can't come in today. I just can't get out of bed. Now I feel like I'm paying for that now because now there are legitimately days that I am too crazy to go to work, that I'm probably too crazy to make it to the curb to pick up the mail. So it almost feels like karma, like coming back around, like for all the times I lied about it, now it's actually happening. Um, Probably like 2005, 2006, I was coming up with that yarn a lot. And I ended up getting fired between the mixture of drinking and going to work and lying and absenteeism. So then we go into the digital world. Let's say we're on YouTube. We're all on YouTube now. And this is where something came up with me with this channel I follow when I've been doing my series on caretaking. Um, this couple has provided a lot of inspiration and provoked a lot of discussion. Well, not so much on their own channel because the comments are moderated, but there's some other sites where it's been discussed. And one of the things that was a discussion there was, is there some exploitation going on? When one of the people who's on the channel is ill and the other person isn't, is it exploiting the sick person to have them on camera? Do they want to be? Do they not want to be? You know, things like that. Exploiting viewers by dropping hints all the time. Now, this isn't unique to the couple I'm following, but the notion of e-begging, you know, not outright e-begging, but there are folks with very big hearts who may or may not have a lot of money who will watch and follow someone on YouTube, and they may say things like, oh, just, you know, the fridge is empty. I just have to get out to the store, but I just can't do it. And then a week later, a box of groceries comes, you know. Oh, you know, we just need to get a new litter box that's just falling apart. And then kaboom, a new litter box shows up. Any sort of little, or a crock pot, you know, anything. Folks, there's issues some people have with posting Amazon wish lists or their PayPal or anything like that onto YouTube because it feels like, you know, you're asking for stuff. And if you're dropping hints in your videos that you're short on stuff and then making all we have are potatoes. That's okay to talk about your life. If times are tough, times are tough. I hear, you know, anybody who's going through rough spots. We've been in the position where we were counting out change for cat food because Bandit didn't ask to be in this situation, so he eats before us. But e-begging as exploitation to the viewer, putting it onto the viewer to try to compel them to say, oh, I feel so bad for the folks on this channel. They must be in such a difficult spot that they can't afford X, Y, Z. And e-begging can be taken a couple ways. One, you desperate, who do you think we are, suckers? And the other is, oh, they're too embarrassed to ask outright, so they're just dropping hints. But I will bless them with this. Some folks feel called to charity and kindness in that way. And I wouldn't take that away from those folks. But I would be concerned about folks being manipulated in that way too. Do we all manipulate to some degree? Some of us more than others. Some of us intentionally, some of us not intentionally. I think my opinion is that something we all do a little bit. And some of us do a lot. So that kind of, you know, take that for what it's worth. I don't know about, I don't think, though I don't know, we try not to do that on our channel. You know, we live a rather comfortable life for the both of us. We have a roof, we have food, we have entertainment, we have friends on YouTube and in real life, we have family, we can eat, cat can eat, you know, we're in a good spot. So we really don't, all of our needs and most of our wants are pretty much met. So we're in a good place. We don't, you know, feel compelled to drop hints that we're out of any of the bare necessities exactly. That's not to say that we'd be ungrateful for people who are generous to us, though, either. Because we have been, I'll use the word, blessed with some very thoughtful gifts that people have sent to us. Some of which we've shown, some of which we haven't. to you guys on YouTube. But if we were soliciting those by trying to put it out there that, I was, having a hard time and I wasn't working, and Mark was doing double and trying to take care of me, and documenting every nitty gritty little detail of it, and just with the intention of pulling at people's heartstrings. Um, on one side, it's just meant to be a real, raw, probably if we were doing that documentary of how illness can look. But on the other side of that, would I be being exploited if Mark was doing that? So, if I'm the person who's the poor pitiful one, and he's the one saying, "Oh, I need this. Oh, we need that. Oh, it's so hard. Oh, it's this. Oh, it's that." So, talking about, exploiting people, it goes from, I did it when I was a kid. I tried to capitalize off of some medical diagnoses I had. There's room for it in the workplace. There's room for it on YouTube. It's nothing new. None of the folks who do it now have invented it. So I wouldn't point an accusatory finger at any one channel over another. And the folks who do it are notorious for doing it. They have a record, they have a label of doing it. And again, it's not any one channel specifically. There's a few out there, and I think most people know who they are depending on the circles they're in. So what can be done, or how could it be addressed? Well, I think a little self-awareness helps, and, we all have our blind spots. I certainly have mine. If I watch this video in a year, I'm going to probably recognize some spots in my own life, and where I probably am still manipulative and just don't realize it yet because I don't have the insight. Where I'll get some hard feedback and be like, ugh, that was hurtful to hear, but it was probably true. Different stuff like that. So, we all grow, we all learn and become inspired and be better people. Ideally. I'd hope by the time I was 49, I'd be a better person. But that's neither here nor there. So, I guess I'll kind of wrap this up here. I guess my major thing, and this comes up at work because our agency has folks that collaborate with like adult protective services and do investigations on folks with intellectual disabilities who may be the victims of abuse and who may be exploited either financially or for any other reason. A lot of times those cases come up with someone stealing the person's money. The person's on disability and a family member's taking that person's money meant for their care and they're spending it on themselves. So that's a pretty cut and dry. You're taking their money and they need it. And they need it maybe more than some other folks out there because they have more expenses, because they have to navigate life a little bit differently. So I'm a little more familiar with it than some other areas. But suffice it to say, it's a topic that I think will probably always be coming up, especially when it comes to YouTube and exploiting an illness, exploiting an eating disorder, exploiting a sick relative, exploiting anything like that for attention, for views. You exploit people's curiosity when you use clickbait, when you put a title on a video that the video is not actually about. And you sucker people in, and you get their 1/4 of a cent or whatever it is for the ad, unless they're watching it on, what's that other one? Starts with an I. You can watch it ad free, I guess. I don't know. Well, at any rate, I'm starting to diffuse in a couple different areas. Bottom line, I would hope that folks who are engaging in this behavior are also hopefully watch their own videos back, maybe in a year, like I hope to watch mine. I look at old videos and see if I'm in a better spot or if I'm the same schmuck I was a year ago. I like to think I'm doing a little better. I would hope that they would reflect on their own, too. There's the old thinking that a leopard never changes its spots. So maybe we can get a little bit better as people, but not too much. I don't know. We'll see. If this was me of 15 years ago, oh my god, the utter e-begging that you would see would be unbelievable. And I was so slick at that stuff, too. It was so disgusting. But we live, we learn, I suppose. So thank you all for watching. Please do subscribe, hit the like button. You can follow Mark and I on Facebook at SmokeySteve and Mark, or on Instagram at SmokeySteve and Mark. Our email address and contact info is all listed below. I will be following up with probably a part 4 of our series on caretaking, but I have to do a little bit of research. The channel that I've been working with to provide some raw material for discussion was offline for a while, dealing with some health issues, and now is back and has posted videos for the entire duration that they were off YouTube. So in the interest of fairness and following the narrative, I have to watch all those. I don't want to just go off at the mouth. Even though I probably do go off at the mouth, I want to at least, in a semi-informed way, go off at the mouth. So thank you all again. Please subscribe, and I will catch up with you all tomorrow. Bye.